Clear $100,000 Bitcoin resistance on this daily chart. It's no surprise. We're going to dig into the zoomed in price action of Bitcoin. I think it's going to be a really good guide for all cryptos, not just Bitcoin, but altcoins in general. But before we even talk about this, there's a way bigger, urgent piece of data, not even data. This is just a brand new era, a brand new narrative that we've never experienced as crypto holders. So if you're a serious crypto person, a long-term crypto holder, altcoin holder, whatever, this video is going to break it all down. And I think for me, this sets the macro tone. We're kind of getting a reset on the macro across these cycles. So hit the subscribe, hit the like, and let's just jump into the video. I want to start here. This is a clip. Former CEO of Binance says Bitcoin market cap should be way more than gold's $16 trillion market cap. And let me just also start by saying, now that Bitcoin has hit $100,000, $1 million Bitcoin isn't sounding so crazy, is it? Let's check this clip real quick.
I want to talk about a theory I have. Bitcoin right now is digital gold. But it's better than gold in almost every attribute. I mean, it's more scarce, it's more portable.
Absolutely, yeah.
So when I think about what should the price of Bitcoin be, I really have a hard time making the case that it should be worth anything less than parity with gold, which would be, I think, a $16 trillion market cap.
I think it should be way more than that because, as you said, it has many advantages over gold.
The CZ over here saying should be way more than gold. And just to give you a sense, as we start digging into this, right now, if Bitcoin price was the market cap of gold, we'd see Bitcoin price as a $914,000 Bitcoin. So let's take that as a starting point for what I'm about to explain to you. This is happening. This brand new narrative, which is, again, very realistic to people now. I think now that Bitcoin's like 10% away, it's becoming more realistic. There are other things at play. I just saw this headline, Amazon to ditch cash for crypto. The National Center for Public Policy Research wants Amazon to move 5% of its $88 billion treasury into Bitcoin, claiming inflation is draining its cash faster than a prime day frenzy. They argue real inflation is double the 4.95 CPI rate. So rate hikes. And here's the thing, that story of just companies like Amazon, here's another one, Microsoft. This story is at the very beginning. This is a brand new era, what we see happening right now, and it plays directly into the supply shock of Bitcoin. Microsoft could make history in 2 days as shareholders vote on whether to add Bitcoin to the balance sheet. So we have Amazon, we have Bitcoin. And I really want to remind you, and this is kind of what I talked about in a Substack newsletter I posted over the weekend. This cycle, don't forget the government. Don't forget the U.S. government and other governments. This cycle, we're witnessing unprecedented momentum in Washington with the Bitcoin Act on the table and discussions around the U.S. holding Bitcoin as a reserve asset. The narrative has shifted. So we have these massive companies looking like they're shifting into Bitcoin. We have the potential that U.S. is going to start accumulating 200,000 Bitcoin a year if we get this Bitcoin Act. $1 million for Bitcoin, not sounding so crazy. This just sums it all up, what Michael Saylor is saying here. And this was just posted. I saw this today. Check this out real quick. Then we'll dive into the charts.
Yeah, I'm going to keep buying. I joke. It's like you said, well, is 100,000 too much? And I say, look, Dave, I'll be buying it at $1 million a coin. And I'll probably be buying it at the rate of $1 billion a day at $1 million a coin, because that's what I do.
Listen to what he says next, because for me, this really painted the picture of how much sense this makes in the world that we live in. Check this out.
Just like, you're like, crap, Manhattan real estate's really expensive in 1930. It's a lot more expensive than 1830. I'm like, well, 100 years later, we'll still be buying it and we'll be paying a lot more. The only issue is, can you hold it?
That just completely, for me, that helped make it even make more sense. Think about that. Real estate just continues to go up in value, but people continually buy real estate. And it's the same exact thing with this asset called Bitcoin. It's going to keep going up in value. People are going to keep buying it. So $1 million in appreciation makes sense, especially because it is so finite. There's only a limited supply. So this number, $914,000 Bitcoin. I'm not saying that is this cycle or something like that, but it's getting close. You see this orange line up here. There's gold in terms of Bitcoin price, in terms of this chart. And this chart that I charted back in the bottom of the bear market, 2018, just below $4,000, this chart is not looking so crazy anymore, especially as right now Bitcoin's sitting at $100,000. We're somewhere right within this cycle right here, and you can see we're very much on track. And the continue parabolic move, the higher high move on the macro for Bitcoin to approach $1 million on this chart that I did back in 2018 is definitely not looking so crazy. But let's talk about price, because Michael Saylor even mentioned in that clip, like, can you hold? Like, that's the question. Over not only the course of one cycle, but multiple cycles. Can you hold? Can you keep accumulating? Let's talk about that. And this really relates into altcoins as well, because I think the urgent thing for me is what's that balance in terms of, okay, all good to take profit, but still remaining in the market, still having exposure to these markets over these cycles, instead of just completely exiting and you just you don't have that exposure to these markets and the continuation of the gains. Look at altcoins. This is total crypto market cap excluding Bitcoin and Ethereum. I want to paint a picture for you in relation to why all of this bullish Bitcoin talk is like incredibly bullish for altcoins. Here's last cycle from altcoin season, this purple line. Total crypto market cap, this is altcoins, 700 some percent gains from that moment. If you go look at, you look at Bitcoin on, let's go to the Bitcoin weekly. Look at Bitcoin from that moment, altcoin season, to all-time high, just under 100% gains. Look how much in these bull markets altcoins outperform Bitcoin as Bitcoin's doing well. So if we get, in this case, this current Bitcoin move to the upside continuation, what are altcoins going to do? So if you're an altcoin holder, this cycle and continuation for Bitcoin into this potential target range, $130,000 to almost $300,000, I think now is a really important time to focus on your altcoin holdings and a plan. So that's number one. But number two, I want to actually look at Bitcoin from a price perspective. What can we anticipate right now? Because things are getting volatile. I posted a little bit earlier. For days, I've been wanting crypto to dip. I just know it's what's needed for parabolic gains. It may not be over, but I'll tell you what, I'm grateful things finally cooled down. I am. The dip might not be over, though. And this is where I really want to get into the price action of Bitcoin and really how this could impact altcoins and crypto in general, and why, for me, I just need to pace myself. And that's where my head's at right now. There's such macro urgency in terms of the long-term plan for crypto. We all have to sit back and figure it out ourselves, how we want to approach these markets, multi-year, multi-cycle perspective. But then there's the zoomed in. How are we going to kind of survive the volatility of the markets? Because it's volatile. First thing I want to do, this is if I put something like urgent reminder in the title or the thumbnail or something, this is what the urgent reminder is. The inverse head and shoulders on Bitcoin right here. Right shoulder broke out of the neckline back here, and this was, November. Bitcoin approaches $100,000. Key, some of the most insane mental resistance Bitcoin's at $100,000, just under it. It's insane to think about that. But imagine this. That's some resistance. There's a case, especially because how big this pattern is, this inverse head and shoulders. We get the breakout, and then we're needing to consolidate, a throwback to the pattern itself, a throwback to the neckline. This technical move might lead to a multi-week, it could even be a multi-month, just consolidation, a dip. And I want to say, that is not me just predicting that. I'm just saying from a technical, just strictly technical perspective, this is in play. What that could do to altcoins, and here's the total crypto market cap altcoin chart, it could be a very big dip. And I'm not saying it's definitely going to happen. Maybe we continue to the upside and we just have a straight up parabolic bull run, no breaks. But right now we have the 20-week moving average escaping the 50-week, incredibly bullish setup right now. But pulling at least close or allowing these moving averages to pull into price on any of these charts is incredibly important. So maybe we do have a little bit of a dip back below $1 trillion as Bitcoin's maybe throwing back to a key area, the neckline. But let's look at what this might look like on the daily chart. I think this really gives us better perspective. Just in general, it's in the upper 70s, that neckline. So that's in play, I just want to say. But the daily chart kind of gives us really nice just roadmap on the shorter term, even leading into that potential midterm move. Here we are on the daily, and that pattern that you see here is more easily viewable on the 4-hour, but we have the symmetrical triangle, broke out, throwback right now to this trend line, and right now we're really just seeing if Bitcoin can hold this higher low trend that it's in. It might fall, and this might end up being a busted pattern, which we have a target to the downside in the mid-80s. So at that moment, if we go back to the daily chart, if a move like that were to occur, and this is not bearish in my view, this is just a normal middle of the bull market dip that is healthy for crypto. But if Bitcoin were to make that move, a bearish break down to the downside mid-80s, all of a sudden, this inverse head and shoulders throwback becomes very much in play, right? Like, it doesn't have to even go all the way back to the neckline. We're just getting a nice throwback before continuation. All of a sudden, on this daily chart, that move makes more sense, especially when you start looking at the moving averages, because look where the 200-day moving average is down here in the upper 60s. So maybe this is a case, and here's that neckline, by the way, everybody. That blue line is the neckline of that massive inverse head and shoulders, a multi-year trend line. The 50-day right here, all of a sudden, if Bitcoin's making a move to that area, it's just so, all this range is so in play for maybe a capitulation event. There's the bottom, continuing into the bull market. So that's to the downside. And by the way, if you go back and you just zoom out on a Bitcoin daily chart and you look at previous bull cycles, throwing back to that 50-day moving average, the volatility of these moves, it's there. It's realistic. It is in play. Now, speaking to the upside, right? Here's the pattern that we're in. We had the breakout to the upside of this symmetrical triangle, throwback to the trend line. Maybe right now we start getting continuation and we break back above 100 and we're making our way to $110,000 target. And then we're getting more separation from all of these support areas. This could be in just a nice parabolic bull move that we have seen many times in cycles past. So this is the analysis on the short term. Needless to say, I'm not here to predict anything. I'm here to anticipate these scenarios. Am I ready for a move like this? Target to the downside? Absolutely. And I actually think if we get a move like that, it will be painful. It won't be that fun doing the videos, but I will say it will set up for even a more powerful super cycle than I think we're already set up for. But let's see how Bitcoin just kind of moves at this trend line here, this higher low trend line. We're having a daily red candle. And if you go to the weekly, it's a brand new week, right? So 6 days, 8 hours left. It's going to be interesting to see how this week ends up interacting with the $100,000 area, because obviously that $100,000 area is proving some resistance for Bitcoin. So at the end of the day, everybody, zoom out. There's a bigger picture. There's a way bigger story in play right now. And this is so important for Bitcoin people, for altcoin people, for the crypto space in general. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I hope you're doing well out there. Please, if you're not a subscriber, please consider subscribing, turn notifications on. And if you enjoyed the content, hit the like button. That support, it really does make a difference for me, and it means a lot. It's a game changer. So I'll see you all in the next video. God bless.